Hello, my name is Kelly Hegman, and I'm a co-founder of FiXiT, a nonprofit dedicated to ending companion animal overpopulation by creating marketing and incentive-based strategies to give all pet owners the desire and ability to get their animals spayed and neutered. In this webinar, I will describe a methodology for tracking the success of a marketing program that you created to increase demand for spay and neuter in your targeted community. After months of work where you have done some careful identification of your target audience, had many discussions about the challenges and important issues to your target audience, and then devising and testing different messaging and advertisements, you are now ready to actually get to the part where most people begin, providing services to the community. Of course, we are starting this with the Smart Marketing Program, and we want to stay smart. It would be a massive waste of time if we had gone through all of this effort by choosing what we felt was the most impactful messages and then just left it up to chance from here. What we recommend is that you track the success of your campaign in a very systematic fashion. By performing this tracking, you will be able to optimize your marketing plan and also reduce expenses by focusing only on marketing strategies that get results for animals. So beware, this webinar might also be called the data gathering presentation. One of the first decisions you need to make before you launch your new campaign is to actually figure out where you're going to advertise. We recommended that you include some of this media preference gathering into your early surveys or via your advisory committee. This is an important consideration. Your audience media preferences are not going to necessarily be your own. You need to choose from traditional print advertising, such as newspapers and magazines, versus radio or television, and then compare those with various online resources such as social media and a variety of news providers. We found that television was the primary preference for our audience, and then newspaper. Unfortunately, television ads did not fit our budget at that time, so we focused more on newspaper. But it was important to start asking questions early about their preferences, because if you see that there's a clear preference throughout the initial surveying, you can continue to refine the ask. For example, if your audience likes television, you can ask what time of day do they typically watch or which stations. Similarly, if they prefer newspaper, which ones and on what days. For social media at the time, 2/3 of the population used Facebook, while only 23% used Twitter. Therefore, we knew using Twitter would not be as fruitful, but we were quite surprised by the popularity of Facebook. The survey was done in 2010, and since then, a lot of additional online media options have become popular. Where are they getting their information now? The benefits of online advertising is that they have a system in place that can track the impact that you're having to some degree. You can do this by side-by-side comparisons of how many clicks you get from the same exact ad with only minor differences between them. Right here we have the ASPCA ads, but they are really trying to personalize the problem in order to make you take action. Or here we have, in contrast, a comparison of click rate using the same call to action but different imagery. One thing you might want to test is a cute versus a shocking image, or here there is the cat versus the dog. Then there's going to be an almost infinite option of print advertising. Again, you need to be aware of the habits of your target audience. What are they most likely to respond to? Here we have an example of one of our yard signs. We use these to target various businesses in important intersections. We relied on the time spent sitting in traffic to give people the inclination and time to either write down the phone number or actually make the phone call to participate in our program. Posters were actually quite popular on St. Croix as well. These placed in high-traffic businesses such as gas stations, convenience stores, grocery stores, or where people would be walking down the same street would be ideal locations. Here we have a poster on a gas station door in one of our targeted areas. Other print options include postcards. You can hand these out at special events to schools or put them on car windshields. Or you can get vehicle signs to put on cars and trucks and vans that travel to your targeted area. We actually hired taxi drivers to have our signs on their vans for a monthly fee. Then there was also business cards to have on hand for you or animal control or volunteers, shelter staff, or anybody who's invested in spay and neuter to hand out when they're having conversations with people about spay and neuter in the target audience. And for those of you that are more budget conscious, Luckily, word of mouth is going to be your best friend, and you'll want to grow that as your campaign succeeds, no matter which media you choose. Make sure to use local businesses, schools, churches, and groups to spread the word. You can get different print media that focuses on specific types of venues. For example, we use different materials at the animal shelter. Later in the campaign, we would focus on school programs like you see in this picture, and I'll show you some data on word of mouth when we get to the point where we're talking about optimization in the next lesson. But it is big. The closer your relationship with your community, the more success you're going to have. I've listed a couple strategies here, but don't forget to be creative to grab people's attention, especially those in your target audience. For example, the brilliant people at Match.com, the dating website, used paper scented with aroma of beefy dog food to attract the attention of dogs throughout London, and thereby their single dog owners, to view their flyer for a Bark in the Park event. It's all about knowing your targets and what is going to draw their attention. Plus, they got international coverage for this marketing campaign. Only once you have mapped out your media list, you can finalize your advertising, because you need to be able to take steps that will allow us to determine if our media choices were good ones. We need to develop a system in which we can track the success of each message and media type. We can use call volume, surgery volume to determine the ultimate success, but without tracking how each ad is performing, we really don't know why people are calling. What are they responding to? Where are they from? And where were they when they saw the ad? For us, the solution we chose was to use unique phone numbers for each media and message. You can see here that each of these posters had a unique phone number. We used this scheme for all of our ads in order to determine which ads were attracting calls and which ones were not. You might use the same phone number like we did, but you might also have a different strategy, such as using a special code on the ad or just asking potential clients where they saw it. But in our experience, people probably have seen more than one ad, and the answer that they give is going to be more qualitative than you may prefer. By having a system such as a phone number system in place, you can start gathering smart data. You will have loads of data telling you where people got your phone number. Then, as you continue through the process with them, continue to gather information, such as the client's information, not just the name and contact, but information that will be useful to you as you continue the marketing program. For example, we asked people who called us why they had not spayed or neutered their animal already. By gathering this data and comparing it to the similar data gathered during our perception survey, we can deduce what kind of pet owners we were attracting with our current marketing program. And in the long run, who are we missing? Then once they are at your clinic, continue to ask them questions. Do they still have the animals that need to be fixed? Or are they male and female, dogs or cats? By collecting data at every opportunity, you can begin to really appreciate the needs of your community beyond what our preliminary surveys and committees have told us. So now you have a system in place, so you're ready to go, right? You'll hopefully have hundreds of people calling, and you can determine if these are people in your target audience.